Hello everyone, this is Keith from the Solo Gamers Club and welcome to my channel. Tonight we're going to be continuing with our playthrough of Eldritch Horror versus Atlach-Nacha. In the previous episode I have one correction. You may remember that when Michael McGlenn was battling the avian thrall in the previous episode, he failed the sanity check. He took sanity damage, and part of that monster said that if you take any damage from the sanity check, you have to take a corruption. So we are going to have to gain a corruption card, a Bane, and that card would have went off in the last Mythos phase when we had a Reckoning effect. So we're going to have to resolve this. It says here, you may gain one Eldritch token to reroll one die when resolving a test. If you would gain a boon condition, discard the card instead. During a Reckoning, gain an Eldritch token and then flip the card. So we're going to have to gain an Eldritch token, and then we will flip the card and see what happens. And this says, you may gain a Dark Pact condition to discard all of your Eldritch tokens. Everywhere you go, bad things happen. A cloud of misfortune surrounds you. Resolve each effect that applies based on the number of Eldritch tokens you have. I have one, so I would have to discard an ally asset. And that means that we're going to have to discard, unfortunately, Esteban Hero. I have no choice in the matter. I could gain the Dark Pact, and then I'd be able to get rid of the Eldritch tokens, but I think we'll just, for right now, we'll keep that. So we're going to discard Esteban Hero, and then we will keep the corruption card, and we'll see what happens. All right, we're ready to begin our next turn. Our lead investigator is Hank Sampson right now. He's currently in London. Now, we have a few issues. Our Doom track is currently at 7, so we have to really start working on getting these gates completed. We don't want that to move up unnecessarily. Currently, the Omen track is on the blue star pattern. It's going to be moving to green, and we have one green gate in Tunguska. So we're going to have to see if somehow we can work on getting rid of these gates, and then at the same time working towards our mystery. All right, Samson is our lead investigator. Now, he has an amnesia condition, and he has 3 sanity out of his possible 4. So I think what I'm going to do is begin with a rest action, and that'll give us the chance to try to get rid of that amnesia. And at the same time, we can repair our sanity and get that back up to 4. So we'll move his sanity back up to 4 with the rest action. And then it says when you perform a rest action, you may roll a die. At a 5 or 6, you can discard the card. So let's try to do that and see if we can get rid of this thing. Okay, here is the roll. We've rolled a 4, so no good there. We'll have to maintain the amnesia card for the time being. I think for Hank's second action, we're going to do a move action. We'll move him to Rome, and maybe he'll be able to close that gate in Rome, so we'll move him there. That'll complete his actions. We'll move on to Michael McGlenn. McGlenn currently has 4 health and 2 sanity, and he has that corruption, and the only way to get rid of the corruption is to try to get a boon of some kind. So that's going to be probably pretty difficult. I think what we'll do is start out with a rest action for him. That'll boost his sanity back up to 3 and his health up to 5. All right. Now, McGlenn is currently in London. Now, he has a pretty good combat ability and willpower. So I think what I'm going to try to do is to use this summoning spell that he has. And we'll try to draw some of the monsters that are guarding these gates to him, and maybe he can destroy them, and that'll give an open path then for some of the other investigators to reach these locations with gates. Now, on the summoning spell, it's a ritual, so we'll see what that says. All right, that says as an action, he can test lore +2. Michael McGlenn has a lore value of 2, and he also has the Book of Spells. And that says when you gain +2 lore when resolving spell effects. So we'll be gaining +2 for that book of spells. So he has his lore of 2, he gets 2 for the test, and 2 for the book of spells. So we'll be rolling 6 dice for this test. And we'll see if we can get some successes and maybe draw some of the monsters to us. All right, here's his summoning spell roll, and we'll see what we get for results. And he has a total of 3 successes. All right. So we've got 3 successes. That means we can draw a monster with a toughness of 3 or less to him. So I think what he'll do is he's going to draw this crawling one from the pyramids. He'll draw that to London, and then during the encounter phase, he can attempt to go after that thing. That's going to complete McGlenn's actions. We'll move on to Lily Chen. All right, Lily has a health of 6 and a sanity of 3. So I think what we'll do is start out with a rest action for her. That's going to allow her to regain 1 sanity. Then I'll move her back up to 4. She already has 2 focus and a resource. Now she's currently in Shanghai. I think what we're going to do is move her to Tokyo. She'll do a move action there. There is a clue there, and the base ability of that location is defeat monsters. So maybe that will also help us in getting rid of some of these monsters. So we'll move her to Tokyo, and then during the encounter phase, she'll probably end up trying to gain that resource token, or that research token. All right, that's going to complete her turn, and then we'll move on now to Wendy Adams. Wendy currently has a detained condition. It says you cannot move or perform actions other than the action on this card. So the only thing we can do is take this local action. She has to test influence, and if she passes, she can discard the card. Now her influence is only a 1 though, so it's not too good. So we'll have Wendy do the local action and see what we get. Here's the roll. And she rolled a 1, so that's all she can do is the detained action. That's it. It says instead of resolving an encounter, we have to flip the detained card. So that's what will happen in the encounter phase. So Wendy will remain in Bombay, India. Okay, we'll move on now to our encounter phase. We'll begin with Hank Sampson, and he is currently in Rome. All right, Hank is in Rome, and we'll attempt to, I think, do a token encounter, and we'll attempt to close that gate. I don't know if he has the proper skill sets for this, but we'll see what happens. All right, and the card is going to take place in Lost Carcosa. You find the lair of the Fester from afar. Its den is lined with stacks of bodies that all have had their brains removed through a hole in their skull. When the creature itself arrives, a wave of terror threatens to overwhelm you. Test will -1. Okay. Hank has a willpower of 3, so he'll be rolling 2 dice for the test. We'll see what happens. He has no re-rolls available to him, so we'll have to just see what the roll is. And he's failed. So we have to read the fail condition. Seeing the beast shatters your mind. Gain 1 madness condition. You try to draw a warding symbol to protect yourself. Test lore. All right, we're going to draw a madness condition first. And he draws hallucinations. When you perform a rest action, you may roll 1 die on a 5 or 6. Discard the card. During reckonings, we have to test will, and if we fail, we'll be flipping the card. So he has picked up a hallucinations condition, madness. Okay, and now, as part of that card, we have to test lore. Now, unfortunately, he only has a lore of 1. So this is probably not going to end well, but we'll try it. Here's his lore roll. He failed. It says, if you fail, you stay in hiding for weeks, starving, impair strength. Okay. Well, this is really going south very quickly, so we have to impair his strength. So that's going to move that down to a -2 now. So his strength now is down to 2. Oh, boy. All right, that's going to bring his encounter phase to a close. We'll move on to Michael McGlenn. All right, McGlenn is in London, and he's going to have to do a combat encounter. And he'll be going against that creature that we moved into that space that is a crawling one. He'll begin with a will -1 test. The creature has 2 horror. His willpower is a 3. And let's see if we can get any other bonuses here. No, we don't. So he has a willpower of 3. The test has a -1, so we'll be rolling 2 dice for the will test. Here is the roll. We have 2 successes. That is absolutely awesome. That's amazing. And the horror value on the creature was 2, so we won't take any sanity damage. That is great. Now this creature has magical resistance. And unfortunately, damage is going to be equal to our strength. We're going to have to do a strength test. His current strength is a 4 with 1 impairment is a 3. So that will be the health or the damage value of this creature. Now this creature has magical resistance, and that says some monsters and epic monsters in this expansion have magical resistance ability. When resolving a combat encounter against a monster with magical resistance ability, an investigator cannot apply any bonus to his die pool from magical possessions or spells. All right, so we're going to resolve now the strength test. McGlenn has a strength of 4. He's impaired, so that's down to 3. The test is 0, and he's going to employ, I think, his Tommy gun. That's going to give him +4 for the test. So he'll be gaining 4 more dice for that, and we'll give him a total of 7 dice for the combat test. Now this creature is going to have a variable amount of damage. In this case, we've determined it's going to be 3. So we'll be rolling 7 dice. It has a toughness of 3 and a damage of 3. So let's roll these and see if we can kill this thing. Here's the roll. And he's got 3 hits. That is awesome. 3 hits. That's going to kill the creature. We won't take any damage. And we've gotten rid of this crawling one. That is awesome. And now since he's in a space with no monsters, we can take a normal encounter there. And he's going to encounter, I believe, the space, and he'll encounter London. And the London encounter reads, Sir Mortimer Wheeler has unearthed a Roman temple at Lydney Park in Gloucester. You believe helping him with his excavations will reveal the secrets of Rome's global influence. You may spend 1 resource to gain 1 clue and spawn a clue. Well, unfortunately, he has no resources. Oh, so we get nothing out of that encounter. This is why I like to keep those resource tokens if possible. But unfortunately, he doesn't have any at this point, so we get nothing out of it. All right, that finishes McGlenn's encounter phase. We'll move on to Lily Chen. She's currently in Tokyo. All right, Lily is going to do a token encounter, I think. Or do we do a location encounter to try to defeat monsters? Because we can't solve the mystery with 1 anyway. Oh boy, this is a tough one. I guess we'll try the research encounter, and we'll see what's up with that. And the research encounter for a city is a man in a pristine white suit offers you an ominous leather-bound tome. You need only sign his contract to acquire the book. You may gain a dark pact condition to gain the Necronomicon artifact. If you do not gain the condition, his eyes gleam with a frightening animosity. Lose 2 sanity. Oh boy. So if we gain the Necronomicon, it would allow us as an action test lore, and if we pass, we can spend a sanity to gain 2 spells. Now, unfortunately, Lily Chen only has a lore value of 2, so I don't think that's too useful for us, and I really don't want to gain the Dark Pact. So I think we're just going to take the 2 sanity loss. That'll move her down from 4 down to 2 sanity. We're taking a big chance there, but I think that's what we'll do. We'll pass on that offer. So that's going to bring Lily Chen's encounter phase to an end. She's down to 2 sanity, so that's not too good. We'll move on to Wendy Adams. She's in Bombay. All right, Wendy has a detained condition. It says instead of resolving an encounter, flip the card. So that's what we have to do. And in this case, the card says, starved for weeks. You are kept in a small cell without food for weeks. Every day your captors interrogate you for information. Spend a clue or test strength -1. If you fail, you are finally released and you are ravenous. Lose 2 health and gain a hunger condition. Then discard the card. All right, Wendy has a strength of 2, and with the -1 modifier, we're only gaining 1 die. So we have 1 die to roll. Here is her roll. And she's passed it. She has passed it. And it says then discard the card. So we got lucky there. That's great. All right, that brings the player's turn to a close. We'll move on to the Mythos phase. All right, our card is entitled Moved to Boston. We're going to begin by placing some clue tokens. We'll be placing 2 of them. So we've got clues in space 17. That's in Bombay and in London. All right, we'll place those clues accordingly. All right, then we have to get out 4 Eldritch tokens. All right, we've got the 4 Eldritch tokens, and now it's time to read the rumor. It says, the street is eerily quiet for the middle of the day. Doors are locked and windows are boarded up. Each closed shop bears a sign indicating that its owner has left and has no plans to return. Move to Boston. An asset cannot be placed in a space of the reserve that contains an Eldritch token. After an investigator performs an acquire assets action, he can spend clues equal to the number of Eldritch tokens on this card to solve this rumor. Oh boy. During a reckoning effect, discard 1 asset from the reserve and place 1 Eldritch token from this card on that space of the reserve. All right. Well, we'll leave that card out as reference. It's kind of a tough one to deal with, but that's what we have. And that's going to complete the Mythos phase. We can change our lead investigator token if we choose, and I'm going to think about that. And I think I'm going to move the lead investigator token back to Michael McGlenn. And we're ready to begin our next round, and we'll begin with the action phase for Michael McGlenn. He's currently in London. Well, we've got to find a way to close some of these gates, otherwise that doom track is going to be moving down. So I think what we'll do is we'll start out with a rest action for Michael McGlenn. That'll raise his health up to 6 and his sanity up to 4. And I think he's going to take a move action, and we'll have him move into Rome. Got to start trying to close these gates. That's going to end his action phase. We'll move on to Lily Chen. Lily is down to 6 health and 2 sanity, so we're going to start her off with a rest action. She's going to gain 1 sanity back, moving her up to 3. I think her next action will be a move. We've got to get to Tunguska, so we'll move to Siberia there, and she'll be within 1 space of Tunguska for the next turn, and that will end her action phase. Wendy Adams is up. She's in Bombay. She has 5 health and 7 sanity currently. So I think what we'll do is we'll have her move to Istanbul. She's going to use her rail ticket, and we'll have her move to the pyramids, and then she can attempt to close that gate at the pyramids maybe. We'll try that. All right, we've got Hank Sampson. He's in Rome as well. He has a total of 7 health right now with 4 sanity. And he's got a hallucinations condition and an amnesia condition. So I think we're going to take a rest action that will allow him to recover 1 health, putting him back up to 8. He's at full capacity for sanity at 4. And during the rest action, he can attempt to get rid of these amnesia and hallucination conditions. So let's take a look at that. All right, the first one is the amnesia condition. It says when you perform a rest action, you can roll a die. On a 5 or 6, discard the card. So we'll try that, and we'll see what happens. Okay, here's the roll for the amnesia condition. Rolls a 3. So no good. On the hallucinations condition, it says when you perform a rest action, you can roll a die. On a 5 or 6, discard the card. Okay, here we go. That's a 6, so we were able to get rid of the hallucination condition at least. That's great. And he still has the amnesia condition. All right, for his next action, I think he is going to focus, and we'll give him a focus token. And that's going to complete our actions phase. We'll move on to the encounters phase with Michael McGlenn. Michael is in Rome, and I think we'll have him attempt to close the gate. This time he travels to Yuggoth. You discover a fetid creature with wings and webbed feet. The beast is strange, like something from your wildest dreams. You may spend 1 clue to resolve the pass effect. If you do not spend the clue, resolve the fail effect. He has no clues, so we'll have to read the fail effect. The creature is terrifying, but if you can keep your calm, you will be able to overpower it. Test willpower. Well, he has a willpower of 3. Here is his roll for willpower. And he's passed. He has passed it. He's got a 5. That is great. And that's all we get from it. It says if you pass, you subdue the creature and use it to return home. Close the gate. Okay, we do get to close the gate. That is great. So the gate in Rome is closed. That is outstanding. That is going to complete his encounter phase. Next up is Lily Chen, and she is in Siberia. So we'll have her do a wilderness encounter. And her wilderness encounter reads, far from any road or village, you find a shallow grave marked only with an arcane symbol. As you dig, a growing dread weakens your resolve. Test will. Okay. She has a willpower of 3. And we'll have her roll for the test. And she has 1 success. She's done it. It says, if you pass, the police are apologetic and share their leads with you. Spawn a clue. All right. So we're going to be placing a clue in space 5, and that is in the Midwest of the U.S. That'll complete her encounter phase. We'll move on to Wendy Adams. She's at the pyramids. All right, Wendy is going to try an token encounter, and we'll see if we can close the gate in the pyramids. And this time we travel to the city of the Great Race. It reads, you find yourself trapped in a strange alien body, surrounded by the broken bodies of other Yithians. You hear a loud wind howling overhead. A blind panic creeps into your thoughts, and you struggle to retain your reason. Test will. All right, Wendy has a willpower of 3. And we'll see if she can pass this. Here is the roll. She has 1 success. She has done it. We'll read the pass condition. Let's see what happens. It says, you see a strange device that can heal the tear in reality. Close the gate. Outstanding. So we've closed the gate at the pyramids. That is great. We'll continue reading. The machine is inscribed with symbols. Test lore -1. All right, she has a lore value of 3, so she'll be rolling 2 dice for the test. And let's see what she comes up with. Here's the roll. She has no success. We have no rerolls available, so we'll have to read what happens. If you fail, the strange icons mean nothing to you. Lose 3 sanity. Oh boy. That is going to move her down to 4 sanity. And that will complete her encounter. And now we'll move on to Hank Sampson's encounter phase. He's currently in Rome, and he'll take a Rome encounter. And that encounter reads, you ask an American priest to tell you the reason for his visit. Test influence -1. All right, Hank Sampson has an influence of 2, so he'll only be rolling 1 die for the test. We're really getting hit with these encounters that are testing our lowest abilities, and that is not working out well for us. So he's going to get 1 die roll. We'll see if he can pass this. He does have 1 reroll available to him, a focus token. Here's the roll. He rolled a 4. Well, I guess we will spend that reroll. It's only a 1 in 3 chance, though. Here's the roll. He rolled a 2. He failed. And it says, if you fail, he leaves and the room grows dark. Gain a cursed condition. Oh my goodness. So if things couldn't get any worse, he's got a curse condition. Now he's going to be rolling the red dice, which are 6s only for successes. And during a reckoning phase, we roll a die on a 4, 5, or 6. We would discard the card. Okay. That's going to bring the encounters phase to a close. We'll move on to the Mythos phase. All right, we draw our Mythos card that's entitled No Peace for the Fallen. We're going to begin with a Omen track advancement. Our Omen track advances to the Green Comet. We have one gate open in Tunguska. That's going to move the Doom track up 1. So our Doom track is now at 6. This is not going well. Next part of the card is a Monster Surge. And that says, on each space containing a gate that corresponds to the current omen, we have to resolve a Monster Surge. All right. Monster Surge with this number of players is 2. So we have to draw 2 monsters and place them at Tunguska. Those creatures are revealed to be a Deep One hybrid and a Bayaki. Let's take a look at their capabilities. The Deep One hybrid is not too bad, but it says when you defeat this monster during a combat encounter, lose a sanity and gain 1 random item asset from the deck. The other one is not too bad either. It's a toughness of 2. If you defeat this monster during a combat encounter, you may lose 1 sanity and move 3 spaces instead of resolving another encounter. All right. Next part of the Mythos card is to spawn clues. We'll spawn 2 clues. First one is in space 21, and that's in the Australian outback. Next one is in San Francisco. Okay, we'll place those accordingly. And now we resolve the event. It's entitled No Peace for the Fallen. You can feel the decay clinging to you. This sickening putrefaction is everywhere, and you fear the toll it's taking on your friends lying in hospital beds. Discard all possessions from defeated investigators' sheets and return all defeated investigator tokens and sheets to the game box. Then the lead investigator gains a curse condition. Oh my goodness. Well, we don't have any defeated investigators, but our lead investigator will gain a curse condition, and that's going to be Michael McGlenn. So Michael McGlenn is going to gain the curse condition. Only 6s will count as successes. If he gains another curse condition, we would flip the card. If he would gain a blessed condition, we can discard the card instead. And during reckoning phases, we have to roll a die. On a 4, 5, or 6, we can discard it. All right, that's going to bring the round to a close. And we have to decide who our lead investigator will be for the next turn. This is tough. We've got 2 of our main combat characters are both cursed. They'll be rolling the red dice, which only succeed on 6s. It's very hard to get blessed conditions, too, to get rid of these. Well, I think I'll leave the lead investigator as Michael McGlenn, and we'll continue on. Well, as it stands now, our Doom track is at 6. I have no progress towards our first mystery. This is really, really tough. All right, we're going to begin our action phase with Michael McGlenn. He's currently in Rome. And I think he's going to try to make his way towards Tunguska to try to maybe combat some of the 3 monsters that are there. So I think what he will do is we'll begin with a movement phase. I'll have him move from Rome to Istanbul. There is a star vampire there. I think in that location he's going to gain a focus token, and we'll give him a focus. All right, that'll bring his action phase to a close. We'll move on to Lily Chen. All right, Lily is in Siberia. She has 6 health and 3 sanity. So I think what we'll do is we'll have her do a rest action. That'll have her recover 1 sanity. That'll move her up to 4. And then she's going to do a travel, and she'll move into Tunguska. And we'll see if we can combat some of these creatures here. None of them are really exceptionally bad, so she might have a chance. Next up is Wendy Adams. I think I'll have her take the uncharted path into the heart of Africa, and we'll see if we can maybe get something good from this expedition. That'll be her first action. Her next action will be a focus action, and we'll get her a reroll. That'll complete her actions. We'll move on to Hank Sampson. All right, I think Hank will start with a focus action. And I think he'll move into Istanbul, where we can attempt to combat the star vampire. Maybe between both of them, we can kill this thing. All right, that is all of the actions. We'll go to the encounter phase, beginning with Michael McGlenn. All right, McGlenn is in Istanbul, and there's a star vampire there, so we have to do a combat encounter. And let's see what we've got here. All right, he has to do a will -1 test with a horror level of 3. So this might not be too good for us. We'll see what happens. He has a willpower of 3, and it's a -1. So we'll be getting 2 dice for the test, but unfortunately we have to use the cursed dice. Only 6s will count. This is not good. All right, here's the roll. He has no success. So that's going to cost us a total of 3 sanity. That moves him down to 1 sanity. We do have 1 reroll available, but I'm going to save that for the combat encounter. Next part is the combat encounter. McGlenn has 3 strength. He's going to be using his Tommy gun, which will give him 4. So he's up to 7, and then we have to take 2 out for the strength of the creature. So we'll be rolling 5 of these cursed die. This is going to be really tough. Okay, here is the roll. He does have 1 success, so we've done 1 damage to that creature at least, and we'll mark that accordingly. That's going to end his encounter phase. Lily Chen is up next. She is in Tunguska, and she's going to have to do combat encounters. So we have to fight each of these monsters that are in her space, and we can choose whatever order we wish. And I think we will start out with this creature first, and that's the Bayeki. She'll start out with a will test. Her will is 3. So she'll get 3 dice for the test. She gains +1 will with her protective amulet during combat encounter. So that'll give her up to 4 now. And we'll see if we can pass this. This thing has a horror level of 1. And she's got 2 successes, so we've passed that. Now it's the strength test. And she has a strength of 4 -1 for her impairment. That's 3. No modifier on the creature, so she'll be rolling 3 dice for the test. We need to get 2 hits on this thing to get rid of it. Here is the roll. And we have 1 hit. We've got 1 hit. She's going to use her lucky rabbit's foot, and that says once per round you may re-roll 1 die when resolving a test. So we will do that. And we'll re-roll 1 die. And she's got it. She's got the 2nd success, and that's going to kill this thing. She has 2 hits. The damage was 2. She takes none. The creature is defeated. That is great. She'll move on to attacking the next one. And this is the Deep One Hybrid. She'll begin with a will test. Her will is 3 after her impairment. She gains 1 for the protective amulet, so 4 dice. Here's the roll. She's got 3 successes, so she's not going to take any horror damage. We'll move on to the strength test. She has a strength of 3, -1 for the creature. She'll be rolling 2 dice. All right. Now she does have 2 focus tokens. Here's the roll. Whoops. She's got no success. We'll spend one of the focus tokens and re-roll a die. All we need is one hit to get rid of it. She's got it. We've done it. And it says here, when you defeat this monster during a combat encounter, lose one sanity and gain a random item asset from the deck. So let's do that. That'll lower her sanity down to 3, and we'll gain a random item asset. And she gains the Expert's Blade, item, magical relic, weapon. When you gain this card from the deck or reserve, gain a talent condition, and it gives us +2 strength for combat encounters. That's great. All right, so Lily has drawn the talent Martial Prowess. When resolving a combat encounter, you may gain +3 strength during that encounter. If you do, flip this card before resolving the test. Okay, that's interesting. We'll give that to Lily. All right, she has one combat encounter left, and that's against this Ghoul Priest. And it has a special condition here. It says if you lose health from the strength test, gain a paranoid condition. All right, we have to begin with a will test. Lily's will is 3. She gains 1 for the protective amulet. That's 4. So she's got 4 dice to roll for the test. And we'll see what happens. This thing has a horror value of 1. So all we need is 1 success. She's got it. She's got the 6. So we've passed the will test. We go on to the strength test. Now we want to pass this. We don't want to take any damage, so we need to get at least 2 successes. So her combat right now is a 3, a 4 minus 1 impairment. So she's got 3 dice for that. And she has the Expert's Blade. It's going to give her +2 during combat encounters, so we'll give her 2 extra dice for that. She's up to 5. And I think she's going to take advantage of this Martial Prowess card. It's +3 strength. We might not need it, but we might. So it says here, if we do use it, we have to flip the card before resolving the test. And this says, you may add 1 to the result of 1 die when resolving the strength test. After resolving the test, resolve the effect based on your test results. All right, so we will do that. So she gains +3 strength. That'll give us 3 more dice, and we're going to be able to add 1 to the result of 1 die. So we'll give her 3 more dice for this test. That's our dice pool. So she's got a total of 8 dice. 2, 4, 6, 8. Yep, that's what it is. Okay, here is the roll, and we'll see what she gets. We need 2 successes. And she's got it. She's got exactly 2 successes. That is great. On the card it says, you fight with reckless abandon, lose a health unless you discard this card. She'll lose a health. We'll move her down to 5 health. And we've defeated the creature, which is the most important. So we'll keep the Martial Prowess card. And we've got 2 successes, so we take no health damage, and the creature is defeated. Now that she has defeated the entire group of monsters, she can take an encounter, and she'll try to close the gate in Tunguska. So let's see what happens with that. This time we're in the Plateau of Lang. A large band of chochos surround you. Before they can attack, you remember seeing some black lotus flowers growing nearby. Resolve the pass effect to tell the chochos the location of the rare blooms, or resolve the fail effect to flee from them. All right, I think she's going to try to escape. So we're going to read the fail effect. It says, as you escape, they blow a black powder in your face. Gain a hallucinations condition. Oh no. All right, so she's going to gain a hallucinations condition, and it says madness. When you perform a rest, you can roll a die, and a 5 or 6, discard it. During reckoning, test will. If you fail, flip the card. Okay, so that she's got the hallucinations. The other part of the card says, you struggle to resist the horrifying illusions conjured by the poison. Test will -1. Okay, well, her will is 3. Her protective amulet only works during combat encounters, so that won't help. So she's going to get 2 dice for the test. She has 1 focus token available. So we'll be rolling 2 dice for the test. And I hope we can pass this. Okay, here is the roll. She's failed, and I'm going to try the focus token. And we'll see if we can re-roll one of these. She's passed it. She did it. If you pass, you return to Earth and destroy the portal. Close the gate. All right, we've closed the gate in Tunguska. Thank goodness. That is outstanding. She did a great job. She defeated 3 monsters and closed the gate. Outstanding. We'll move on to Wendy Adams. She's in the heart of Africa. All right, she is in the heart of Africa. We're going to attempt a token encounter, and we'll see what's happening with this expedition. That reads, Heart of Africa. You consider your options for gaining access to the legendary canyons of Ituru Kendi. Resolve the pass effect to take the Ituri River into the canyon, or resolve the fail effect to approach through the jungle. All right. I think she's going to approach through the jungle. We'll take the fail effect. You try to follow an ancient map to an abandoned city in the canyon walls. Test lore -1. She has a lore value of 3. So we'll be rolling 2 dice for the test. Okay, here's Wendy's lore attempt. 2 dice. She has 1 focus token. She's failed. She has failed. I think we'll spend the focus and try to get a success here. Here's the roll. She's failed. So we have to read the fail effect. If you fail, wandering in the jungle breaks your body. Gain an injury condition. Oh my goodness. And she's going to gain a head injury. When you perform a rest action, you cannot recover sanity. Roll 1 die. On a 4, 5, or 6, discard the card. During a reckoning, she has to test strength, and if she fails, she has to flip the card. Okay, that didn't work out too well for us. The expedition is going to move to Buenos Aires. So we'll move it there. That completes her encounter. We'll move on to Hank Sampson. All right, Hank is in Istanbul, and it's going to have to be a combat encounter against this star vampire. The star vampire already has 1 damage on it. He'll have to begin with a will test. It's will -1. He has a will of 3, and -1 would be 2, and he's rolling the red cursed die. Here's his roll. He has 1 success. So that's going to reduce the horror damage down to 2. He'll lose 2 sanity. That'll move his sanity down to 2. All right. Next is the strength test. His strength is currently at 2. He's got 4 -2 impairment. So he's going to gain 2 dice for that. The creature has -2 for its combat ability. So we're at 0 right now. And the only thing that he does have is a sledgehammer. And that's going to give him +2 strength to a combat encounter. So he would have 2 dice for the combat. It's not enough to kill this thing, unfortunately. Not good. Here's the roll. He has no successes. He's going to take 2 damage from the creature, moving him down to 6 health. Not good. All right, that's going to complete the encounter phase for Hank Sampson. We'll move on now to the Mythos phase. Mythos card is revealed to be Together We Stand. We begin with a Omen track advancement. The Omen track advances to the blue star pattern. We have 1 blue gate in relay, so that means that the Doom is moving down another one. So the Doom track is now at 5. This is not going well. All right, next is a reckoning phase, and we begin with checking for monster reckonings. Let's see if we've got any of those on the board. Well, we have a star spawn in relay, and we're supposed to roll a die on a 1 or 2. We're going to have to move the Doom track down again. Roll is a 5, so we're okay for the moment. We'll move on to the Ancient One's ability, and that's going to be to spawn a gate unless we can discard clues or spells equal to half the investigators. Oh boy. Well, we don't have any clues, but I think Michael McGlenn is going to discard these 2 spells that he has. We can't let that track go down anymore. He'll discard his Flesh Ward and Summoning spell. Next up is the Mythos cards. It says, during a reckoning, discard 1 asset from the reserve and place an Eldritch token from this card on that space of the reserve. All right, let's see what we've got here. And I guess we'll get rid of this fishing net, and we'll place an Eldritch token there. Next up is possessions and conditions. We'll start with the lead investigator, Michael McGlenn. All right, Michael McGlenn has 2 cards that he has to deal with, a corruption card and this cursed card. We'll start with the cursed. And he has to roll a 4, 5, or 6 in order to get rid of it. So let's hope we can get rid of this. This is very damaging to us. He rolls a 4, so we were able to discard the cursed. Thank goodness. All right, now we have to deal with this corruption card. It says to gain an Eldritch token and then flip the card. So this is his 2nd Eldritch token. And on 1+, it says discard an ally asset. We don't have any. So that will be the extent of the damage for Michael McGlenn. We'll move on to Lily Chen. Okay, Lily has 1 card to deal with, and that is this hallucinations card. It says test will. If you fail, flip the card. So she's going to test her willpower. That is at a 3. And we'll roll 3 dice and see what happens. Let's see if she can get a success here. She's got 2 successes, so no problem there. We'll move on to Wendy Adams. She has a head injury. All right, Wendy has a head injury. It says to test strength. If she fails, she has to flip the card. She's got a strength of 2. Okay, here is the roll. She's failed. We have to flip the card and see what happens. Concussion. You find yourself lying on the ground, unable to recall how you got there. Trying to remember what happened only causes your head to hurt more. Lose a health and gain an amnesia condition and then discard the card. All right, she's going to lose a health. She's down to 4 health. And now we got to get her a amnesia condition. All right, she's gained an amnesia condition, and that will bring that to a close, and we'll finally finish up with Hank Sampson. All right, Hank has to deal with a curse card and amnesia. We'll start with the cursed. He's going to roll a die at 4, 5, or 6. We can get rid of it. And please, let's roll a 4, 5, or 6 here. He's got a 5. That is outstanding. We can get rid of the curse card. Thank you very much. Now the amnesia card. We have to test will. He has a willpower of 3. We'll be using standard dice now. He's not cursed anymore. So that order that we take those in does make a difference. We'll test his willpower. He has a 3 will. And we'll see if we can pass it. If we don't, we have to flip the card. He has failed. So our choices would be to use a focus token or to just take our lumps. I think we'll take our lumps. This one says, unexplained debts. According to the paperwork written in your own hand, you took out a loan and made unspecified promises of repayment. To your dismay, there is no sign of the money or what you could have spent it on. Gain a debt condition and then discard the card. All right, the card is discarded. We have to gain a debt condition. All right, so we've got a debt condition now, and we can do a local action and testing influence. If we pass, we can discard the card, so it's a way to get rid of it. During a reckoning effect, some men have come to collect on your debt. Flip the card. Okay. All right, that completes the reckoning phase. We'll move on now to the next step, and that's we have to spawn a gate. And the gate is already flipped up from a previous turn, and that is going to be in Hyperborea space 13. It's a red omen symbol. So we'll place the gate in Hyperborea, and we find out it's defended by a warlock. Let's see what this thing's all about. All right, a normal will test, not too bad. It says here, though, if you fail the will test, lose 1 health, and then during reckoning effects, roll a die on a 1 or 2. The nearest investigator gains a curse condition. Oh my goodness. This is not good. And these are all in very hard to reach areas too, which is really not good for us. All right, we'll continue on now with the event, and it's entitled Together We Stand. In your darkest moment, your compatriots find a way to help shoulder your burden. Each one finds a way to make sure that you never have to suffer alone. In the midst of such horror, this thought alone provides you with some solace. Here's the event. The lead investigator loses health equal to his current health unless investigators as a group lose health equal to the number of investigators. All right, the lead investigator is Michael McGlenn. He has currently 6 health. So he would have to lose health equal to his current health, which is 6. Am I reading that right? The lead investigator loses health equal to his current health unless the investigators as a group lose health equal to the number of investigators. All right, so he would have to lose 6 health. That would basically, he'd be done. He'd be down for the count. So we have to get rid of a total combined amount of 4 health. So I think what we'll do is I'll have Hank Sampson lose 2, and then we'll take 1 each from Lily and from Wendy Adams. So that's going to place Hank Sampson at 4 health, Wendy at 3, and Lily at 4. All right. And the rest of the card says the lead investigator loses sanity equal to his current sanity unless other investigators as a group lose sanity equal to the number of investigators. Well, he would have to lose 1 sanity. That's his current sanity, which he'd be down for the count. So we have to get rid of a total of 4 sanity. That's going to be a lot harder. All right, Wendy's going to get rid of 2 sanity. That'll move her down from 4 down to 2. And we still have to get rid of 2 more sanity. And I guess we'll take 1 from Lily Chen and 1 from Hank Sampson. It puts him down to 1 sanity. This is terrible. That's going to complete the Mythos phase. All right, that completes the Mythos phase. We can move our lead investigator token. And I'm wondering if there's a better order to this than what we have. I think yes. I've got Lily Chen in Tunguska. And maybe we can get her to Istanbul. No, she's not very close, though. That's the problem. She would be, at this point, a little bit better fighter. But Michael McGlenn now and Hank Sampson no longer have the curse on them. So, but both of them have minimal sanity. They won't be able to stay in that space with the monster. So I guess we'll just leave it with Michael McGlenn as our lead investigator. They'll have to move out of that space and then try a rest action. And so I think I'm going to bring this episode to a close. We're not doing very well. We've got the Doom track at 5. I've got 2 investigators with 1 sanity, 2 investigators with 2 sanity. We haven't made any progress on addressing our current mystery. We have to get 4 clue tokens on there. We have none of them on there. Not that we haven't tried, it's just that we haven't been successful in solving these clues, research attempts. So we'll have to regroup in the next episode, and I'm hoping that I can repair some of these characters with rest actions, and we'll just see what happens. So thank you so much for tuning into the Solo Gamers Club. I appreciate your views. Look forward to seeing you next time for episode 3 of our playthrough of Eldritch Horror against Atlach-Nacha. Thanks for watching, and this is Keith from the Solo Gamers Club signing off, wishing everyone a pleasant evening. Good night.